No outbreak emerges suddenly overnight. There are circumstances that link to that, particularly and always in the case of a vaccine preventable outbreak. So the after action review is going to be critical. We are going to look at why, for many years, around 500,000 children are missed every year. That's a rough estimate, so don't be holding my hands to the fire in the future on that number. But that happens, and I know I spoke to many women and parents during this outbreak who said, I made a decision not to go to the health centre because I was working and now my child is dying. How could I have done that? So absolutely, your message to parents about the importance of the routine vaccination is critical, and supporting parents to get their kids to those health facilities or to convene children in the spaces where we find children, like preschools, etc., is something we'll be looking at in the future. In any country, you have routine vaccination. You don't usually have campaigns. So the fact that campaigns were being held gives you a clue that already children were being missed. And there have been campaigns held. I know after the 2019 outbreak, there were campaigns held in 2020, for example. Yeah. So you want to move to a place where your routine vaccinations are working properly, reaching the children who need to be reached, providing the vaccine, and ensuring where a busy parent hasn't been able to do it, there are opportunities, and they are reminded when they come to the health centre, and it remains a priority for the health centres. So chronic underfunding at the health facilities absolutely came to play and was obvious during this outbreak. Some of the issues with not triaging children properly. So when you go to the hospitals and you've got all your children healthy and otherwise all amassed together, you don't do that. We know that from COVID. You isolate, you take them to a different door, you find a way of making sure that you're not spreading it in that population in the health facility. Our goal in any country is to get to over 90% of the children vaccinated. That's where we start talking herd immunity. You'll know this language from COVID. The more people who get vaccinated, the less it can spread. So again, let's look at the numbers today and work out what's gone wrong over the past period. What's happened with the surveillance data? Where was that? What happened with the administrative data over many years in terms of the kinds of issues? We'll have to look at these and work out where the issues are and how we move forward. So in terms of the bringing of vaccines into Bangladesh, I want to say a few words about that. As you will all know, UNICEF is a major provider of vaccines across the world, and I have to say that in all areas of procurement, and it's a requirement of me as well, we do very transparent, very publicly available open bidding for anything that we buy. It is the most honest way to go. However, in the case of vaccines, because they are a very specialized item, and because you are covering not just 100,000 people with an antibiotic or whatever, your goal is to reach a very large number of children, etc. Because you need to ensure that you have WHO approved vaccines, so it is not the cheapest vaccine that you go for. It is the ones that have been proven to be effective and not cause side effects that you go for. So UNICEF made a decision years ago to invest and procure vaccines for the world. We procure on behalf of the majority of countries in the world. We have direct relationship with the vaccine manufacturers, who are checked regularly in terms of their standards. And because we're buying in such large numbers, we achieve economy of scale in the price. So you cannot undercut the bid. you cannot undercut the cost that UNICEF gets. We know that. So, for example, when the Philippines put theirs out to open bid a couple of years ago, a year and a half later, they could not get the vaccines into the country because they could not, the bids were too big and were not acceptable to them. So I'm not saying, I want to be clear that this is not we're saying this because UNICEF's self-interested. I'm saying this because I care about saving children's lives, and UNICEF does not make a profit from the vaccines. So go to the UNICEF Supply Division website where all of our numbers are transparent, and you will see, for those of you who have misquoted costings, you will see that the Gavi vaccines are a 4% overhead and the routine vaccines are 3%. That just covers the people who organise the planes and the movement and the ordering numbers and getting them to all of the countries across the world. We do need staff in our supply division to do that, and there is a very small percentage for that. Please note, none of that money comes to this office, so on that, be very clear, verify and fact check by all means. I'm happy to clarify your misinformation before you print it and embarrass yourselves. Now, in terms of vaccine planning that has happened, obviously Bangladesh has gone through quite a transition period over the last couple of years. Let's be very clear. The failure to order vaccines was not the result of no money in the Ministry of Health. The funding was provided by the Ministry of Finance. The funding was in the budget. This is not about needing a little bit of COVID money from ADB. That's a red herring. The reality is the budget was there. It was the decision around how to procure that had created a delay. And that will be the subject of an investigation, which I welcome. And on that, you can ask the ministry for their next steps and how they propose to do that.